It's a WRAL weather alert day. We have the potential this afternoon to have some heavier rain roll in that could affect the evening commute. I'll show you what we think the timeline looks like.
Plus, filling the gap, how a new mental health program in Wake County could provide much needed help for students. And today is the WRAL weather alert day. This afternoon, a few storms could dump heavy rain in our area, and there's a chance of flooding. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. Thanks so much for joining us. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at who could see the heaviest rain.
So we do have a few of our counties that are in that medium risk for flooding. It's going to be these counties in yellow in the east, really along and east of I-95. Everybody else in that low risk. And of course, a low risk is, not a zero risk. So we are looking at that potential of having the chance for some heavy rain. This morning, all we've seen is some light patchy rain, mostly down here in the Sandhills. We do continue to have just some very light sprinkles, light showers here in the southern part of Wake County, all the way down towards Sampson County. But very little of that is even reaching the ground. As we continue through the afternoon, we do have a 60% chance of rain. But once we hit sunset, that chance really begins to diminish. We take a live look at downtown. This is a look from our Jimmy V camera. Plenty of people walking around their City Plaza with no umbrellas, no raincoats. It's nice and dry. It's really muggy, though. 75 is our dew point, 82 is our temperature, and we're headed into the upper 80s for highs this afternoon, looking at 86 to 87 later on. Tracking the tropics, of course, right here is Erin, and it's really starting to look a bit more organized, especially a big change since yesterday. This morning, it had winds at 50 miles per hour. Now at 11 o'clock, jumped to 60 mile per hour winds. So getting closer to becoming a hurricane, and that may happen this evening or early tomorrow. We take a look at the forecast track. It continues to move westward, and eventually it starts to make that turn to the north. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll show you the computer models that are specific to hurricanes and where the storm might be headed next.
We'll come right back to you in just a bit. We want to see your photos and videos of the severe weather. If it is safe to do so, you can snap a picture or take a vertical video and send it to us. Go to WRAL.com/reported, and we may use it on TV and our digital platforms.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, new at noon, and only on WRAL, a shakeup that could affect the science, tech, and health industries here in North Carolina. We've learned the man in charge of finding university researchers whose work could boost the state economy plans to step down next year. Bennett Waters has been CEO of NC Innovation since 2022, helping it receive $500 million in state funding. But the legislature is now thinking of taking that money back. NC Innovation has faced some critics in the Republican Party for its work. We'll have more on what it means for the state's universities online on WRAL.com.
Michelle, thanks. District leaders want to expand mental health services to every Wake County public school by the end of the year. That goal comes despite losing more than $14 million from the federal government. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is at Salem Middle School in Apex. And Destiny, you spoke with counselors who say this will help fill a growing gap as well as need.
That's right, Renee. And I want you to take a look at this mural here outside of the school. It says, "We see you, we welcome you, you belong here." And it just kind of encompasses the importance here that these school counselors, they told me that the students here need to feel that sense of belonging. They need to feel that support. But of course, all of this comes as they are facing these federal cuts. Right now, more than half of Wake County schools have a school-based mental health program, and it connects students to licensed mental health professionals. The district wants every student at every school across the district to have access to that program by the end of this school year. That's proving to be challenging, though. Federal funding cuts are complicating their efforts, slashing funding by more than $14 million, as you mentioned. That money would have helped the school hire more mental health professionals. But at least one of the school's partners says they're offering 3 pro bono cases to fill the district's needs.
We could always have more money, right? But the goal is always student care, student focused, and just supporting the students the best way we can.
To date, more than nearly 300 students have used this mental health program in last school year. The district says that one of the challenges that they're facing is getting consent from families because this is an insurance-based program. But of course, that's another thing that they're trying to work on as they continue to expand this program. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Apex.
North Carolina students can no longer fail because they are absent from school. North Carolina schools made that change ahead of the new school year. The state says a quarter of public school students are chronically absent. That means they're missing 10% of their school days or more. One advocate believes attendance alone should not automatically determine a student's grade.
I think that's fair to the student for them to be pushed out of school just because of things that they may not be able to control.
WRAL reached out to some of the largest school districts in the area about their policies. Wake County Schools says many high schools moved away from the practice before the state took this step.
Apex Town Council members plan to have a meeting to talk about the parking shortage at Apex Friendship High School. That'll happen at its next meeting on August 26th. And juniors and seniors get parking passes through a lottery process. And if you don't get one, well, you have to park on neighborhood streets. In 2015, a homeowner opened her yard for parking for a fee, and the town recently banned her from doing that. Leaders are searching for a compromise here. And WRAL has you covered for the start of the new school year. You can find out where to find the cheapest supplies, how to prepare your child for the first day, and more on WRAL.com. Just search the keywords back to school.
A person who spent 7 hours barricaded in a Rocky Mount apartment complex is now in police custody. This is video from Drone 5 of crisis negotiation officers surrounding that person's apartment. Officers responded to a shooting off Boone Street around 1:10 this morning, and they found a 23-year-old man shot. Police say he is in stable condition. Another person was also inside the apartment, and officers arrested that person around 8 in the morning. We're waiting for police to release the names of the person in custody, the victim, and a motive. Closer to home, police are investigating a shooting at a Raleigh hotel. The shooting happened around 10:30 last night at the Days Inn off Glenwood Avenue near Durley Road. Officers say they were responding to a trespassing call that developed into a shooting. And the preliminary investigation indicates that this happened between a man who was shot and a hotel employee. Police say the gunshot victim appears to have life-threatening injuries. No charges have been filed.
So you've likely heard producer price index plenty of times today, but we want to explain what that means for you and your budget. WRAL's Ken Smith has been looking into this, and he joins us here in the studio. Ken, this is a report people absolutely should pay attention to.
100%. The PPI report showed wholesale prices rose higher than what some economists said predicted. Now, the prices rose 0.9% in July. Economists polled by the Dow predicted 0.2%. Dow analysts indicated the increase was driven by how investors manage their portfolios and increased airfare. Now, moving forward, one financial expert we spoke with from the UNC Keene Flagler Business School says ongoing tariffs could affect consumer spending.
I would say that we're going to see tariffs show up to some extent this month with that modest acceleration in inflation. However, I do think we're going to see the bulk of the impacts show up later this year.
And of course, later this year puts us into the holiday shopping season. Dickerson says the one thing that's top of mind for many people right now is how the PPI report could affect the Fed decision on interest rates that could come into play during that holiday shopping season. By the way, the Federal Reserve meets September 16th. Now, in a statement, the Fed says an interest rate cut could be likely if inflation does not heat up.
Of course, we'll be watching that very closely. Thank you, Ken. You know what? Let's take a look at the stocks right now. Looks like Dow Jones is down 183 points so far there. Looks like we've got the S&P 500 down about 14. And this is all happening after we're slated to see some more record highs, but that seems to not be going to be the case today.
Today marks 90 years since President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act. It created a program designed to help people age 65 or older with supplemental income after retirement. Social Security trust funds now also help support survivors and people with disabilities. An annual report from the trustees projects Social Security will end by 2034 if lawmakers do not address the program's pending shortfall. President Trump is setting expectations for his face-to-face summit with Russia's Vladimir Putin and issuing a warning. Be serious about ending the war or face consequences. Now, both leaders are expected to meet tomorrow in Alaska. That would be their first face-to-face meeting in 6 years. Today, Putin met with advisors, saying that he believes the Trump administration is making quote, sincere efforts to stop the fighting. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to London today. Zelensky says there should be no deal about Ukraine without Ukraine in the room.
Outstanding work in broadcast and digital journalism is recognized each year with the National Edward R. Murrow Awards. And today we are so proud to share that WRAL received the prestigious honor for continuing coverage. The award recognizes 5 of your side's ongoing reporting on the toxic chemicals at NC State's Poe Hall. More than 225 people have reported to WRAL they developed cancer after spending time in that building. The federal probe resumed in May after the university said it was overdue to federal budget cuts. Now, we have been covering this case since October 2023, when sick workers asked the school to test for PCB chemicals. And you can follow our reporting on WRAL.com. Just search Poe Hall coverage. ICE mistakenly detains teenager. See when agents had a 15-year-old citizen with disabilities in cuffs and their response when realizing their mistake.
Beef with the carnivore diet. Some parents embrace it for their children, while some nutritionists are concerned what to consider before letting your kids try it.
Exploiting an elder. Why the Durham County Sheriff's Office accuses a home health worker of this and other crimes.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, we have some breaking news out of Raleigh. A pretty serious accident on Creedmoor Road. Sky 5 over that scene right now. Take a look at these 2 cars here. It appears that there are only 2 cars involved in this. This is breaking news. We're trying to gather as much information as we can. We did see EMS load somebody into the ambulance just about 30 seconds ago. But 2 cars very badly damaged. This is Creedmoor Road near Norwood Road in Raleigh. That road is shut down. As you can see, a lot of emergency personnel on scene. As soon as we have any more information on this, how many people were involved, how many people were hurt, if there were any injuries, we'll bring it to you from the Live Center.
It looks so very severe. Hopefully everyone's okay. Thank you, Michelle. A judge in New Mexico sentenced a failed GOP candidate to 80 years in prison, and that is because they hired a gunman to shoot at the homes of 4 Democratic officials. 2 gunmen, in fact. Prosecutors say Solomon Pena arranged shootings at the homes of these lawmakers, and that happened after his failed campaign for the state house. Now, no one was injured, but in one case, bullets passed through the bedroom of a state senator's 10-year-old daughter. Authorities also said Pena attempted to have the gunman involved murdered to stop them from testifying.
A 15-year-old wrongfully detained by ICE outside a California high school says he no longer feels safe. This is video courtesy of the San Fernando Valley Sun Community newspaper. It shows masked men surrounding 15-year-old Baldemar Gutierrez and handcuffing him. Gutierrez is a U.S. citizen. He has a hearing condition and speech delays. He says the men kept asking him about a person they were looking for, and he kept saying it was not him. The agents finally realized their mistake, took the handcuffs off the teen, but did not apologize.
Well, we confused it with somebody else, but look at the bright side. You're going to have an exciting story to tell your friends when you go back to school. What's exciting about getting guns pointed at you?
The school district's superintendent called the incident unacceptable and discussed new practices starting on the first day of school. They include the addition of safe zones around 100 schools and increasing patrols by school, police, and LAPD to alert of any potential immigration operations.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing plans for a second immigration detention facility in Florida, in North Florida. They're calling it Deportation Depot. This would be in addition to a holding center for immigrants in the Florida Everglades called Alligator Alcatraz. This new facility will be at the Baker Correctional Institution, which is a state prison about 43 miles west of Jacksonville. DeSantis says he's confident Florida needs additional capacity to host undocumented immigrants. It'll cost about $6 million. He said the facility would be operational relatively soon, but he is in no rush to do it. He wants to do it the right way.
Some parents are raising their children on what's called the carnivore diet. Maybe you've heard of it. And that's where people almost exclusively eat animal products. NBC's Emily Aketa shares why there are parents who back it and why some nutritionists have concerns.
For many babies and toddlers, that first taste of beef can provide some comic relief. But for others, it's a new way of life, as more parents bring the so-called carnivore diet to their kids, snacking on bone broth popsicles, teething on deer jerky, chowing down on a beef bar.
You cut it in long, thick slices.
Nutrition influencers Nisha Salisbury and husband Dr. Ken Berry feed their children 90% animal-sourced products with some fruit after finding their own success on the diet.
The mental clarity, the energy, that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously I want that for myself, and why wouldn't I want that for my kids too?
But some pediatricians are raising serious concerns about what's not in meat-heavy lifestyles.
Unprocessed meat and eggs are actually great sources of nutrients that young children need, including iron, zinc, and B12. But it's not the only nutrients that kids need. The two things that I'm really concerned about are vitamin C and fiber.
The American Academy of Pediatrics emphasizes variety, and within a few months of starting solid foods, letting your baby have everything from milk to cereal, vegetables, fruits, eggs, fish, and meat.
Are you concerned that such restrictions may decrease their palate or interest in other kinds of foods throughout their life?
I hope so. I hope it decreases their consumption of things that aren't truly good for their bodies.
As the latest diet trend is feeding new questions and concerns. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, children on the carnivore diet can experience fatigue, headaches, and digestive discomfort when adjusting to this diet. You can keep your child hydrated to help ease that transition.
Well, we will transition to weather now. It is a WRAL weather alert day. We do have some showers out there. Elizabeth, when will the heavier rain move in?
Most likely a little later this afternoon. Fortunately, everything is pretty quiet at the moment. There are some light showers that are starting to develop across the area, but today looks a lot different than yesterday. We do have the risk that some of these cells could get a little bit heavier as we get through the day. There's so much moisture in the atmosphere. The last 3 or 4 days have produced a lot of heavy downpours, so it's certainly a possibility. But right now it's just a few sprinkles, mainly in our southern counties, really all the way from Wake County all the way down to, say, Sanford. We do, in our eastern counties, have that medium risk for flooding today, and that stretches on to the coast. And then the remainder of the viewing area is, of course, a low risk for flooding. But still, watch out for some low-lying areas. If you start to see some of these heavy downpours, if they do begin to develop later on this afternoon, which is likely in some places, again, just like the last several days, not everybody's going to see this, but again, some of the cells that develop could end up becoming fairly heavy. You can see, again, between noon and around 4 or 5 o'clock, we have that 60% chance for rain. We've definitely seen a whole lot of rain lately. This is another reason that we sort of remain on high alert, because over the last 5 days, we've seen a lot of heavy rain, especially in our southern counties. So north of Southern Pines, almost 5 inches, north of Fayetteville, about 2.5 near Goldsboro. We had 2 to 2.5 inches around the Triangle area around Raleigh. And then to the north of that, just north of Lewisburg, we had almost 5 inches of rain. So it's been a lot of heavy rain. The tropical moisture does linger today. You can feel it when you step outside. High pressure rotating clockwise, and then low pressure rotating counterclockwise is helping to drag all that tropical moisture into our area. But that does begin to change as we get into the day tomorrow. The low pressure system slides eastward. A high pressure system builds in behind it along with the front, and that starts to push that tropical moisture out of here. We may start to notice a difference tomorrow, but certainly Saturday and into the weekend. So what do you need to know? We're looking at the best chance of rain as we get through this afternoon. Just some isolated to localized flooding possible. We take a look down Salem Street here in Apex. Lots of cloud cover. From time to time, we've seen some sun trying to break out, so it is getting pretty warm out there. It's 82, but the dew point 75. So it's a very warm day with, of course, the potential for the heat index to be a little higher. Temperatures in the upper 80s for highs this afternoon. Now, we have not hit 90 degrees yet for the month of August. Highly unusual. We could hit 90 tomorrow, and then possibly Sunday and Monday, too. When we start to see our chance of rain diminishing, we'll see those temperatures climbing a little bit. Beginning to see Aaron beginning to increase in intensity a little bit. At 5 o'clock this morning, winds at 50 miles per hour, but the newest update, 60 miles per hour, 74 mile per hour winds make it a hurricane, and that could happen later on today or early tomorrow. It does become most likely a major hurricane and starts to make that swing up to the north. The big question is, will it be closer to Bermuda, closer to the coast of the United States? We'll take a look at what some of the specific hurricane models have to say coming up in just a little while. Once our temperatures warm into the 90s, it looks like we may stay fairly hot into the first part of next week.
Elizabeth, thanks. Coming up tonight, watch out for Frankenstein cars. These are cars made of mismatched parts. They're ending up on lots and getting sold to drivers who have no clue. The warning from Raleigh police about the dangerous scheme at 4.
Plus, concert concerns. NC State has a new partner to bring live music to Carter Finley Stadium. The company's CEO now faces federal charges. The plan to make sure the case doesn't taint NC State. That's at 6. Significant safety risks. That is what some elected officials say a new Instagram feature poses. The remedy they're proposing to its parent company, Meta.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, we are continuing to follow that breaking news out of Raleigh. A major crash on Creedmoor Road, a 2-car crash. This is near Norwood Road in Raleigh. That road right now shut down because of this crash. 2 cars involved in this. You can see that tow truck driver just loaded the 1 car onto that tow truck. It is so bad, it's hard to make out what makes these cars are, whether they're smaller SUVs. The one that's on the tow truck looks like it's an SUV. Still working to get more details, how many people were involved in this, if anybody was hurt. Earlier, we did see at least 1 person being loaded onto an ambulance. I just quickly want to show you exactly where this is, the crash location. This is 540. This is Creedmoor. This is exactly where it is, Norwood Road, near Norwood. So just be aware that road is shut down in that location right now.
And that stretch in North Raleigh there. Michelle, thank you. More than 3 dozen state attorneys general are raising concerns that a new feature on Instagram could pose significant safety risks for users. The group wrote a letter to the head of the social media app asking it to ban underage subscribers from using the new map feature. It allows people to share their exact location at any time, which they say could put minors at risk. They fear sexual predators could use the feature to identify and geographically target children. General Electric Appliances announced a new investment worth billions of dollars focused on shifting production of goods back to the U.S. As part of a 5-year plan, GE Appliances plans to modernize its domestic plants. It also wants to shift production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters out of China and Mexico and back to here in the States. GE says the new plan will create more than 1,000 new jobs over 5 states.
The U.S. Department of Transportation plans to make it easier for airline travelers to file complaints. The new complaint system can be accessed online. It will automatically notify relevant parties as soon as a complaint is filed. The U.S. DOT says the update improves data and privacy protections, too. Caregiver charged. A home health care aide charged with stealing thousands of dollars from patients appears in court. What's ahead in that case? We'll dive in.
And off to college. There's a lot to consider besides books, decor, and the necessities. The one item parents should add to their students' to-do list. And here's a look at your winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers.
The Robeson County woman charged with stealing money from an elderly woman she was supposed to take care of faced a judge today. Victoria Lowry faces 5 felonies in Durham. Let's bring in WRAL's Monica Casey. She is live at that courthouse on this story. And Monica, she didn't have actually much to say while she was there today.
That's right. Lowry bonded out of jail late last night, and this morning she faced a judge here in the Durham County Courthouse. Now, she is charged with exploiting an elderly woman, illegally accessing that 89-year-old bank account and forging her signature on 4 checks. After court, Lowry did not say anything to us, but her family members who were with her did. Lowry, do you have any message for the family in this case?
At the moment, no.
Ms. Lowry, should you be trusted to take care of elderly people?
Yes. Can you leave her alone? No, I would not.
Yes, identified herself as Lowry's grandmother. Now, Lowry was assigned a court-appointed attorney, and according to the arrest warrant, in total, she is charged with taking about $42,000 from that victim. Her next court date is set for late September. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
The mother of the victim in the deadly shooting at North Carolina Central University says her daughter was a domestic violence victim. London Powers was born and raised in D.C. She's working on her master's degree in social work at North Carolina Central. Powers was found shot at a Durham apartment complex on Monday. She died at the hospital. 23-year-old Damian Tinsley was found dead at the scene. Police believe he's the suspect in the shooting. Powers' mother says there was a history of domestic violence between the two.
Going back to that apartment to get her things out of there.
Yep, still focused on her goals. She was leaving. She was already done.
And I just had spoken to her like around 1:30, as a matter of fact, between 12 and 1:30, and then I get a call that this happened to her.
She also says London decided to leave the relationship just before the shooting. In this story on WRAL.com, we have resources if you or someone you know has or is experiencing domestic violence. In less than 30 minutes, family and friends say a final goodbye to Raymond Evans Jr. He and his stepdaughter, 24-year-old Lottie Alston, died when they got caught up in floodwaters in Spring Hope last week. Evans' funeral is scheduled for 1 o'clock today at Rocky Chapel Missionary Baptist Church in Lewisburg.
So for your first-year college students, their healthcare needs should be considered as much as their class or their dorms. And Connor Hansen looks at the transition from a pediatrician before going to college.
It's a time of transition for many young Americans as they head off to college. That includes taking their health care into their own hands.
We really need to make sure that we have a plan to transition away from our pediatrician, to make sure that our medicines are easily fillable at local pharmacies, or even to make sure that, depending on our specific health, that we can see doctors and specialists wherever we're moving to a new city.
Finding care and navigating prescriptions for the first time can seem daunting. While many colleges and universities have student health services to access vaccines, care for basic injuries, and STD screenings, family medicine doctor Zachary Bittinger says students with more complex medical histories should seek a local doctor before they get sick or need medication. Since young adults can typically remain on their parents' insurance plans until age 26, exploring that coverage on the carrier's website is a great place to start.
You can find doctors in a variety of specialties, including primary care. And that way you can at least make sure that your visits will be cost friendly. And then it's about making sure what else we need. Do we need specialists? Do we need our medicines refilled?
Being on their own for the first time, students should be prepared for silent risks on campus, including substance use, sexual health, and of course, mental health.
Understanding the local resources for student health, for accessing your counseling, especially televisits for many people, is a sustainable way to keep a relationship that you really benefit from. But also understanding the expectations that are coming up from your various classes, or understanding the social situations of having a roommate potentially for the first time.
That was Connor Hansen reporting. And to set students up for success, doctors recommend establishing a plan for everyday health, including eating right, exercising, and sticking to a sleep schedule. Just a reminder, WRAL does have you covered for the start of the new school year. You can find out where to find the cheapest supplies, how to prepare your child for the first day, and more on WRAL.com. Just search the words back to school.
All month long, we're helping area animals find forever homes during our Clear the Shelters adoption event. For this month, the Animal Protection Society of Durham is reducing dog adoption fees to only $25. So give a furry friend a fresh start. To learn more about this and other local events, go to WRAL.com/shelters. Today, North Carolina Central University is unveiling new technology to transform the future of nursing education. The nursing department will introduce its new interactive nursing room. It's designed to increase student engagement using realistic simulations in a safe, controlled setting. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony today that will start at 4 over at the Department of Nursing building on NCCU's campus. Earnhardt family fight, the fallout over a proposed data center on land once owned by the late NASCAR champion.
And Martian meteorite, why auctioning this space rock prompted an international investigation.
A Denver-based company will not move forward with plans to build a $30 billion data center on land owned by the widow of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt. Developers propose building the data center campus in Mooresville. But many residents pushed back, citing concerns about the facility's water and electricity usage. Teresa Earnhardt married Dale in 1982 and asked city officials to rezone 400 acres for that data center last fall. But Dale Earnhardt's oldest son blasted the effort, saying his father would be livid if his name was associated with such a project.
It's a property that Dad was proud of. He would always go out there deer hunting, turkey hunting, but our favorite time was dove hunting. It was his passion. Love of the outdoors, conservation, preservation.
Dale Earnhardt died in a crash during the Daytona 500 in 2001.
Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is up and moving again less than a day after an explosion. You see that right there? Video shows the van on fire in this video and security trying to move passengers to a safe distance. Well, that's when you heard that loud boom. Atlanta Fire Rescue put out the fire quickly and no one was injured. Airport traffic was diverted to the lower level while an investigation played out. But the cause of this is not known yet. The country of Niger is investigating the recent auction of a Martian meteorite, and this was found in the West African nation in 2023. The meteorite sold for more than $5 million at a Sotheby's auction last month. Niger is questioning the legality of that rare space rocks export. The country's government equates the sale to, quote, illicit international trafficking, their words. Sotheby's says that it followed all relevant international procedures.
Waste not, want not. McDonald's is dealing with a PR disaster. How a collaboration with Pokemon ignited outrage on social media.
Copyright claim rejected. An American composer cannot claim ownership of a catchy tune. A months-long fight in Chapel Hill by neighbors who claim the town is not following its own rules related to tree protections. WRAL investigates Sarah Kruger explains the impact that this is having.
This is the focus of a WRAL investigation that airs tonight at 6. Homeowners say what's at stake here are their lives and their property as massive trees keep falling down. These are some of the photos they've shared with us of the damage over the last few months. They claim the town green-lighted a developer to cut too close to the tree's roots, in turn causing the trees to fall. They believe that goes against town ordinance, which is supposed to leave a buffer around certain protected trees.
That solid orange fencing, that silt fencing, and when they put that in, they trenched in and they cut all the roots of these trees on the tension side, which is supporting these trees, and now they're falling over.
The largest tree that hit our house actually crashed into the nursery room window.
To the frustration of neighbors, the town does not see any violation. Tonight at 6, WRAL investigates exactly what the ordinance says, and I'm pressing the town for an explanation on their interpretation. I also reached out to the developer, and we're hearing from neighbors about what's next. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Chapel Hill.
The Powerball jackpot has grown to a whopping $565 million. No one matched all 6 numbers in last night's drawing. The next drawing is Saturday at 11 p.m. right here on WRAL. If there is a winner, they could walk away with a cash payout of over $258 million. McDonald's Japan is responding to negative publicity after collaboration with Pokemon. Japanese social media is flooded with videos of hundreds of people lining up to get their hands on Happy Meals. That's because each meal included Pokemon cards, but video of uneaten Happy Meals went viral, causing debate over consumer ethics. McDonald's Japan issued a statement saying it does not tolerate purchasing Happy Meals for resale or food waste.
All right, we do want to swing over to weather with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. She has been tracking this WRAL Weather Alert Day. We're talking about that localized flooding concern that you have been watching very closely.
And we've seen that for the last several days. And it really looks like we have the potential to see that. We haven't seen much of it yet. We could see, an inch or more in some places. Right now, the rain is fairly light. It's beginning to spread across the viewing area, though, all the way up here into Franklin County, stretching through Goldsboro, all the way down through Sampson County, and really all the way to the South Carolina line. It's starting to intensify a little bit, but it's still, what we're seeing on the radar is pretty light and patchy. Fuquay Varina to Anger to Benson, and then, as I mentioned, all the way up toward the Virginia line. The only area where the rain is starting to get a little bit heavier is here in Goldsboro. And Goldsboro is in that area where we're looking at medium risk for flooding. So it may be along and east of I-95 that we start to see some of those cells becoming a little bit heavier. But it's interesting to see, the last several days, anytime the cells started to develop, they just, had downpours associated with them. And that's not what we're seeing right now. So we may end up with just more scattered light rain through this afternoon. We do see that tapering off after dinner time, but it could have some effect on the evening commute. We do, of course, have that medium risk for flooding that stretches all the way down to Clinton to Goldsboro, Wilson, Rocky Mount, South Hill, Warrenton, and over toward Roanoke Rapids. The rest of the viewing area is in a low risk for flooding. So we take a look at our 7-day forecast, and of course, we're looking at what's going on out there. Weather alert day for today, looking at a high of 90 for today. We'll also likely see that for Sunday and Monday. We're going to see these warmer temperatures that start to move into the area after we begin to see more of a change in our weather pattern. That change in the weather pattern, of course, brings us some drier air, but that also means that we'll see more of a chance for some warmer temperatures. Let's take a look at what's happening out there right now with Aaron. Aaron is really starting to look a little bit more interesting. You can tell those brighter colors there on the radar showing that it's beginning to intensify more. Winds now at 60 miles per hour, and that's 10 miles stronger than the previous advisory there. So moving west at 17 miles per hour, it continues to move away from the Caribbean, moving north and taking that northerly turn. This takes us out to 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning. And of course, this is the hurricane forecast fan. That's how many days it goes out. But we take a look at some of the computer models. Now, these are specific hurricane models, and you can see what happens with those. Only one or two of those continues it back to the west, and all of them take this curve and continue to move like around Bermuda. Instead of just even going straight, they start to make more of a right turn. That's great news for us here, of course, in the United States, but not so great for Bermuda. If it takes that path, Bermuda is probably going to take a pretty tough hit. This is a look at the European and the American models, and we'll take these out all the way through Wednesday, and you can see they're a little bit on the slower side, but definitely well offshore. As long as that continues, we're still looking good. There's no real indication that we would see any landfall. If you're headed for the beach this weekend, things are looking good. It will be way away from North Carolina, but by the middle of next week, if we're going to see any impacts, it could be rip current danger or some beach erosion.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Please don't feed the bears. Video of a giant black bear helping himself to a bird feeder is driving that point home. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. We're asking police for more information about the serious crash on Creedmoor Road in Wake County. This stretch is just north of 540. It's near Norwood Road, and it's shut down. It appears 2 cars were involved in this crash. Both look badly damaged. Troopers and emergency crews are there on the scene. We will bring you updates as we learn more.
A person who spent 7 hours barricaded in a Rocky Mount apartment is now in custody. Police responded to the Rolling Meadows apartment complex around 1 o'clock this morning. That's where they found a 23-year-old man shot. And another person was also inside the apartment. Officers arrested that person around 8 a.m., and we are waiting for police to release more information.
A woman charged with stealing money from the elderly woman she was supposed to take care of faced a judge today. Victoria Lowry faces 5 felonies in Durham. She's charged with exploiting an elderly woman, illegally accessing that 89-year-old's bank account, and forging her signature on 4 checks. Warrants show she took about $4,200 from that victim in total. Lowry was assigned a court-appointed attorney.
Well, the copyright battle over the viral song Baby Shark ends in a victory for the Korean creators. The internet fell in love with Pink Funk's version of the song Baby Shark. It featured the unforgettable do-do-do-do-do-do line. And I'm sure some parents out there right now, you're cringing. It's okay. It's in the script. The song inspired TV shows, movies, and more, but an American children's songwriter claimed that Pink Funk's copyrighted his song, his work, in fact. And this morning, the judge cleared the Korean creators of plagiarism.
Tennis icon Venus Williams is getting another Barbie in her image. This one is part of the Inspiring Women series, which celebrates women who have broken barriers and paved the way for future generations. The tennis star chose to dress the doll in her uniform from her 2007 Wimbledon victory. That was the first time the women's and men's singles champions at Wimbledon earned equal prize money. The doll goes on sale tomorrow from the online Mattel shop.
Officers in one Massachusetts town are warning homeowners about an unexpected visitor roaming in their streets. We're talking about a 400-pound bear. Okay, I'll just stay at home if I see that. A large animal was seen in the neighborhood several times, and it was recently caught on camera taking down a bird feeder. The video shows this animal standing on his hind legs while pushing the feeder to the ground. Police are advising people there to remove all bird feeders and secure the trash to limit the food availability. And we've heard even our wildlife experts say, Renee, do not feed the wild animals.
Well, he's going after the bird feeder. It's right there. I guess easy access. But when it's on all fours, you're like, oh, kind of a cute guy. But then it stands on its hind legs. That thing is monstrous.
It's
400 pounds.
Cute with an asterisk next to it. Well, I'll just stay far away from that.
They need to eat too, but man. Yeah, hide those bird feeders. Don't need that visitor in your backyard. Well, our pet of the day comes to us from the Wake County SPCA. Tansy is a 1-year-old spayed female dog weighing just around 50 pounds. She loves water, loves to play, and has been good with other dogs. Tansy knows some basic commands. She will sit and wait for her food bowl. She loves belly scratches and is a big fan of affection. She's a very happy, wiggly girl. Tansy's adoption fee is $120, which includes her spay, microchip, vaccines, and other wellness care.
Empty nest stress. Back to school can not only be stressful for students, but also for you parents. Coming up at 4 o'clock, the step you can take to deal with empty nest syndrome.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And just a reminder, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a great day today.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.